Rugby World Rankings after 4 rounds of Rugby Championship action are out, folks. The Boks have extended their lead in the number 1 spot in the world. The All Blacks are down a wee bit. The Wallabies have dropped below Italy once again. We'll go through the changes from this most recent round of both Rugby Championship and Pacific Nations Cup. What are the possible permutations for the next round? Could the Boks still lose number 1 spot if they are to drop a game over in Argentina? And you guys can let us know your thoughts. Now, the Boks, as I mentioned, have extended their lead, and it's becoming harder for them to get points. Because remember, if you're more than 10 points ahead of a team, you can't take any points from them. So look at South Africa on 93.58. How many teams are they within 10 points of? Not many. And then if you consider the fact that South Africa were at home, home teams get scored at +3. So if you add +3 to South Africa's score, 96.58. It's very hard for South Africa to take points off teams at home. They did take minimal pointage off the All Blacks, like 0.2 of a point. So they are up a little bit, which is positive territory for them. They're kind of 1.5 clear of the Irish in number 2. But yes, as you get away from everybody else, it becomes more and more difficult to take points. New Zealand have lost a little bit, down from 88.45 to 88.25. So minimal changes, but still kind of in the red for Razors boys. France and England obviously still there 4 and 5. No changes for them. Scotland in that all-important 6th spot. I say all-important because the next World Cup's going to have 6 pools. The top 6 teams will be the kind of top seeds in their pool. So 6th spot is kind of that cut-off line between being a top seed and a 2nd seed. So Scotland in that all-important spot for now. Argentina did take some points off the Wallabies with their massive record-breaking win, up from 81.57 to 82.49. So that's big news for them. And then the Italians are the beneficiaries of that Wallabies loss. They have jumped past the Wallabies 1 spot from 9th into 8th. So it's not the first time they have swapped places. The Wallabies could potentially take that spot back, as my neighbour has decided now to cut their lawns. So good news for Italian rugby. Didn't have to do anything, but managed to go up a spot. More accurately, it would be to say that the Wallabies dropped below them. Fiji were also in action. They round out the kind of top 10 sides in the world. They beat Tonga away from home, so they are up in the world rankings. Wales are still there. Georgia and Samoa. Samoa are in the Pacific Nations Cup, but they kind of had their bye round in the most recent one, so no changes for them. Eddie Jones's Japan got their kit on because they managed to get another win. They beat the US over in Japan, so they have increased ever so marginally from 72.12. So things are slowly turning around. They scored some great tries if you haven't seen that game. Portugal still there in 15th. Tonga did drop with their loss to Fiji in terms of their pointage. Uruguay, Spain 17-18. USA also in the red with that loss to the Japanese, and the Romanians there in 20th spot. The Canadians are just off the whiteboard in 22nd, who are also in kind of Pacific Nations Cup action, although not the week just gone. What about future permutations? Can the Boks still lose number 1 spot? Yes, they can. They will certainly drop below Ireland if they are to lose in a fortnight's time over in Argentina. That's just the way it's going to go, because they will drop. Argentina's just so far below them that even if Argentina is scored at +3, they'll take enough points to drop the Boks. So the Boks basically need to go through this campaign flawlessly to retain number 1 spot. So there's still hope for you Irish fans if you want to get number 1 spot in the world. For what it's worth, it doesn't really have any practical application at the moment, not until the next Rugby World Cup draw. But that's the kind of situation for the Boks. They can take a little bit of points from the Argentinians, but as I said, it is becoming harder for the Boks to take points with the gap that they've placed between them and everybody else. The Argentinians, on the flip side, could pass Scotland if they were to get a win, which, as I said, would be an all-important one going forward, but not just yet. The All Blacks and Wallabies in Bledisloe Cup action, the Aussies could certainly go back past the Italians, who have been trading spots with them for a little while. If they were to get a win over Razors boys, that would certainly pile the pressure on. But for the All Blacks, they can take points if they win, but would drop to 4th in the world if they were to lose. Remember, those games aren't on this coming weekend. It is the weekend after, as the sides kind of travel back around the world and have a little bit of a break. In the meantime, There is more Pacific Nations Cup action coming this weekend. All 6 sides are in action. Tonga playing Canada. The 2 winless sides will battle it out for the kind of 5th place, and then semi-finals between Fiji and USA and Samoa and Japan. In all likelihood, it's going to be a Fiji-Japan final. Fiji is the top-ranked side of the Pacific Nations Cup ones, like I mentioned. Eddie Jones' side is in 14th, but they will be hosting the kind of final rounds of the Pacific Nations Cup, being the most resourced side. One would imagine will also be pretty big-time favourites. If Eddie Jones didn't win the Pacific Nations Cup, wouldn't be the end of the world, but yeah, it would certainly do him a bit of good if they can win it. If you're looking for something to do between now and the rugby on the coming weekend or in a fortnight's time, check out 2 Cents on Tour. The video I would recommend is the one where I kind of broke into a Chinese university. Well, I say broken. I kind of snuck in through some dude's apartment by paying him some money. And the lady who took me there was kind of dodgy as hell and probably ripped me off. That was a wee while ago when I was in China. It's pretty random. It's out of my normal comfort zone. But it was something I did. Check that out. That's my other channel, 2 Cents on Tour. Otherwise, subscribe to this channel. There will certainly be more rugby action coming on the way. Tony and I from Distracted Sports have just recorded a new episode of 2 Cents Gets Distracted, where we talk about the Rugby Championship action gone this weekend. That'll be out in the next 12 hours or so from by the time I get this video up. But yeah, you guys take care of yourselves, and I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.